The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. It is 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen. Chris Burton in for Alex once again. I've made it down from the snow up into Hatchby. There's still a little on the ground up there, but again, it's not impacting our roads, so that's good news.
That is good news, and double good news because I heard the kids loved it.
Oh yeah, we had so much fun playing in it yesterday. It was just enough, so that you didn't have to shovel a ton of snow, but you could still enjoy it.
Exactly. At least one person was killed in a crash south of Bakersfield. According to California Highway Patrol, it happened just after 10:15 p.m. last night on South Wheeler Ridge Road and Valparaiso Avenue. CHP reports the crash involved two SUVs, but information is still limited at this time. There's no word yet on what caused the crash, and the identity of the person who died will be released at a later date.
From our 17 News follow-up file now, the community gathered last night to remember a local brother and sister whose lives were cut short by a suspected drunk driver. Dozens of people lit candles on Panama Lane near South 8th Street yesterday. It's the same spot where 19-year-old J.J. Malone and his 10-year-old sister Kaylee Brown were hit and killed by a car earlier this month. The driver, 46-year-old Lisa Kaur, is suspected of being under the influence at the time of the crash. Family members say they're reeling from the unimaginable loss.
They're awesome kids. They were, and they didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this, And my sister, I'm only getting a pinch of what she's going through. She can barely get off the bed,
The family is pleading with people to slow down when they drive and to never get behind the wheel if you've been drinking or doing drugs.
In education news this morning, the Kern High School District is bringing changes to their schools. Board members announced they are working on providing private changing areas to accommodate transgender youth. The changing areas would cost between $50,000 and $60,000 per campus and would be built in locker rooms to resemble shower stalls with either curtains or solid doors for privacy. The announcement came after more than a dozen people spoke out in protest of transgender kids changing in the facilities they identify with. But one local student says they are too focused on themselves to want to change in front of others.
Previous speakers came up here and called trans women confused boys and further generalized trans women to being sexual predators and nothing more, when that's simply not the case.
Officials say changes to the locker rooms will begin sometime in the next 2 months.
Meantime, Governor Newsom's vaccine mandate in schools has brought a lot of controversy and sparked debate among parents, teachers, and school boards across the state. 17 News has been following the local debates since the vaccine mandate announcement was made. Panama Buena Vista Union School District trustees approved a resolution in their December meeting to request the California Department of Public Health not move forward with their vaccine requirement for children.
The Board of Trustees of the Panama District hereby give voice to the wishes expressed by an overwhelming number of district families and students by approving this resolution and requesting that the CDPH not move forward with any rulemaking on Governor Newsom's announced COVID-19 vaccine for students in K-12 schools.
The board says Superintendent Katie Russell will take the resolution directly to Governor Newsom.
Coronavirus news now. The coronavirus surge is breaking new records this week, and the impact can be seen in hospitals, airports, and at testing sites across the country.
An NBC News tally confirms more than 53 million total COVID-19 cases in the U.S. since the start of the pandemic. NBC's Liz McLaughlin is in Washington with the latest.
Maddie and Chris, good morning from one of the hardest hit areas in the nation right now. D.C., Maryland, and Virginia all reporting record high caseloads. That means more than 15% of people here are testing positive. We're also seeing record-breaking numbers nationwide.
A coronavirus milestone health officials were dreading. The U.S. now surpassing its record for daily coronavirus cases, topping 267,000. The unprecedented numbers come as officials cut the recommended isolation time for those who test positive from 10 days to 5 if they're asymptomatic and wear a mask.
Unlike before, our staff was not as easily infected like now. We have more staff now that is being infected.
New guidance that could bring workers back sooner in the hardest hit industries, including healthcare. The Omicron and Delta variants have converged to push the steep rise in cases. The CDC now adjusting its estimate of Omicron's prevalence to roughly 59% of cases, down from 73%, showing the challenge of tracking the fast-spreading variant and the danger Delta still brings to patients.
Almost all the cases we've seen that have been sequenced across here that would be accounting for these hospitalizations are Delta.
Testing challenges continue across the country, with long lines and at-home test kits sold out. Some getting creative in response to the increased demand, including this Miami Zoo turned testing site. Officials continue to plead to the tens of millions of Americans still unvaccinated and most vulnerable to severe illness.
Almost everyone's unvaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you don't meet me.
A scramble to stop the spread as a third year of the pandemic looms.
The FDA just announced preliminary research that shows rapid tests may be less sensitive at detecting Omicron. Even though a false negative may be more likely with this variant, officials aren't suggesting people stop using antigen tests. In Washington, I'm Liz McLaughlin, 17 News.
And in your 17 Health Watch this morning, the COVID-19 pandemic is also overlapping with flu season, and you might be extra concerned if you get a cough right about now. So are your symptoms COVID or the flu? Well, here's experts' tips on how to tell. Early warning signs of both infections are similar, but there's a good chance if you have COVID, if you experience an intense headache combined with a persistent dry cough. Health officials say loss of taste and smell is a good indication you have COVID-19, although those symptoms are not as common in people infected with the Omicron variant. If you start feeling chest pains while you have the flu, it's always a good idea to see a doctor.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
This morning, the country's mourning the loss of former Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid. You're taking a live look at the U.S. Capitol building where flags were lowered to half-staff last night. The political kingmaker passed away yesterday after his 4-year battle with pancreatic cancer. David Charnes with our sister station in Las Vegas has more.
During my 34 years in Congress, I've seen the country change. I've seen Nevada change. The changes in the country and Nevada have been for the better.
Former Nevada Democratic Senator Harry Reid saw a lot of change in his decades of service, but he'll likely be remembered most as a fighter of cancer.
Lost all my hair.
It'll come back?
Oh yeah, it'll come back once I get rid of the cancer.
A fighter of tradition.
But be vigilant, because you have as much to do with our democracies, any branch of government.
A fighter in the ring.
He's one of the great fighters of all time.
Harry Mason Reid was born in 1939. The son of a miner, Reid grew up in the small southern Nevada town of Searchlight. He started as an attorney in Henderson before being elected to the Nevada Assembly in 1968. It was Reid's former boxing coach who chose him to be his running mate, and they won in 1970. Then it was a trip to the Nevada Gaming Commission from 1977 to 1981.
Whatever success I had in my educational life, my life as a lawyer, my life as a politician, including my time in Congress, is directly attributable to Landra, my wife.
Then a trip to Washington, one lasting more than 3 decades. First as a congressman, then a senator.
They want to close government. This is all a subterfuge.
Nevada's longest-serving senator, the de facto head of the Democratic caucus during former President Barack Obama's terms. He was then Senate Minority Leader, always seeking compromise. In his last speech, it was Republican Senator Mitch McConnell who introduced him.
But through the years, we've come to understand some things about one another. And we've endeavored to keep our disagreements professional rather than personal.
Reid deciding to leave Washington after suffering serious eye and facial injuries during an accident in his Henderson home.
But this accident has caused us, for the first time, to have a little downtime.
In 2018, the former senator was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. By 2020, he said he was in remission. That Southern Nevada kid becoming Nevada's most powerful and putting the Silver State on the national map. The gateway to Las Vegas, the airport, now bearing his name, the first spot for millions of tourists visiting the place Harry Reid fought for a lifetime.
That was David Charnes reporting. This morning, the country is also mourning legendary football coach and sports broadcaster John Madden, who died yesterday at the age of 85. Madden never played a down of pro football, but he had a profound impact on the game and the way we watch it. When he began his career, Madden was the youngest head coach in NFL history at age 32. He led the Oakland Raiders to victory in the 1977 Super Bowl and later became a popular broadcaster known for his passionate calls. Madden gained a new generation of fans with his Madden NFL video games, which he himself helped develop. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.